What's up, everybody? What's up, world? Let me turn my camera down just a bit here. Alright, before we even get started, let me give my condolences out to the family of Lil Snupe. He was a rapper from Louisiana, apparently, who was murdered. And from all reports that I've heard, he was murdered over $100 in a dice game. Now, there are no official reports out right now, but that's what I've heard so far. I can't be the only one that recognizes that every single day in the streets of the hood or in the streets of the black community, there is some kid getting gunned down way too early. It seems like yesterday we had another young African-American rapper, Lil Jojo, that was gunned down over some senseless shit online. And it doesn't seem like the community, the African-American community, is learning from the mistakes that's going on right outside of its back door. We're making the same mistakes over and over and over and fucking over again. Just think about the violence in Chicago that's going on. Last month I seen a report where there was a record number of gun violent crimes in New York City. Kids are being raised to be about that life, but that life simply just takes lives and it makes no sense. Now, Lil Snupe was an 18-year-old rapper who had just signed to Meek Mill's label. This kid hadn't even lived life yet. He was about to experience what stardom was about. I don't even think he had an album. I did see a mixtape, but there was no album. So he was still growing. Now, unfortunately, now he's going to be famous as hell for about a month. People are going to go over, they're going to check out his mixtapes, and he will become way more famous now than he ever was alive. And that's a damn shame. Now, I didn't even know who this kid was before I seen this trending topic on Twitter today. I went and checked him out. Went and checked out some of his music, and he has a pretty dope flow, and he could freestyle his ass off. It actually sounds like he was coming off the dome. You know how when you listen to other rappers and you can tell that they wrote that shit and they just memorized it? No, this kid would actually freestyle, and you would listen to him and it would sound like a freestyle, like he'd be talking about shit that's going on like right in the moment, which is pretty dope. It saddens me, man. It saddens me that the African-American community is not learning. These single moms raising these children, they're raising them to hate other men. They're raising them to be about that life. I mean, think about it right here. Now, if a white guy said this shit, he would be a fucking racist. Or that's what the people will point him out to be. But it's the truth. You don't see this shit happening with other folks. I mean, you don't see Mac Miller trying to shoot MGK. You don't. This is happening solely in the African American community, and we have to learn from it. You guys have to learn from it. You have to grow from it. You guys have to know how to shut the fuck up and walk away from some of these situations. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it to be a badass in these streets. And the problem is, and here's another thing, once a motherfucker see you've made it, their whole thought process is to pull you back down. What's up with that? Like with 2 Chainz, what was that, a couple weeks back? He's walking down the sidewalk and a motherfucker jump out and try to kill him. Try to rob him. I think they did rob him. He got shot at on camera, and it was stupid motherfuckers that thought it was funny. He ran. This is a human being. You watching him get shot at, and your thought process is, oh, he's supposed to be tough. Music is entertainment. It is entertainment, folks. There is nobody in this world that's bulletproof unless they're wearing Teflon. Unless they're wearing a vest. Nobody. How many kids, how many people in these streets have to be killed before we stand up and say that is enough? I've seen enough of this shit. How many young kids, how many of Lil Jojos and Lil Snupes do you have to bury before you say this life is stupid and we need to reverse course and change? How many? How many of these talents are going to be lost in these streets before we decide that this is stupid? A motherfucker say the N-word and you motherfuckers get mad. But yet in Chicago, it's 300-400 kids getting killed off gun violence. And tomorrow, the person that did the murder will look back at the shit that they shot him for and go, that made no sense. $100 for a life. How? How does that make sense? You lost your life for $100. Does it make sense to you? Because it makes none to me. I don't even know what to say. Well, I will point back to the fact that a lot of these people were raised in a household with their moms. Single moms trying to raise young men just doesn't work. It is making people more violent because they've been taught to fuck that guy because he never wanted anything to do with me anyway. So they go to the streets and they carry that same mentality. That same mentality. Where does it stop? Think about the worst cities in America. The worst cities in America, when you think about them, what's the one thing they have in common? When you think about Detroit, you think about Chicago, you think about, what is it, Camden, New Jersey. What do they all have in common? And are we willing to learn from those things and grow? Or do we stay primitive forever as a people? And I hate to exclude people from this conversation, but to be honest with you, if you look at the statistics, I have to. You can't get mad. Why is there so many people with a violent mindset in this world? I disagree with you, pal. That doesn't solve everything. Only thing that does is put you behind bars. Now you're another statistic in the system. And someone has lost their child. We don't think before we react and use our actions. Anyway, that is my thoughts on it. My condolences to the family. I don't even know what to say to you because I've never experienced losing an 18-year-old family member, especially on the brink of being something great. I don't even know what to say. All I can say is it's time for a change. It's time for a change in the way that we act, and it's time for the change in the way that we treat our fellow man. It's time for a change in the way that we treat our enemies even. Just because someone is your enemy doesn't mean you need to dispose of them. I always say on my videos, and you'll see it a lot, the best way to talk to an idiot is to shut up and say nothing at all. Walk away and don't talk. Anyway, that's my video. Drop your comments below. I'm done.